Hey y'all, Irix Guy here. Welcome back to another Timepieces for Tomorrow video. And within this video, I want to talk about the quality differences between two very well respected wristwatch brands. And this is a comparison that several viewers had asked for. And, I just wanted to share my unfiltered feedback after many years wearing both. And that's the Ulysse Nardin Maxi Marine Diver and the Rolex Submariner 114060. That's the 40 millimeter no date Submariner. So without further ado, let's flip over the camera and I'm just going to tell you everything here unfiltered. So first of all, most everybody's probably familiar with the Rolex Submariner. It's got 120 click bezel. Quite possibly the best bezel feel and best bezel sound in the industry. That's my opinion, and I've handled a lot of wristwatches. The case, obviously, is the Rolex Oyster style case. It's a single piece, and it's got the Oyster case back that they use a little ball type tool if they need to service it. And then on the other side, it's got the sapphire, and then obviously the movement and the dial in between. So as far as design's concerned, I mean, this is a very highly water resistant case design. It's never leaked. I never expect it to leak. Obviously, it's got a screw down crown. This particular timepiece is rated for 300 meters or 1,000 feet. The bracelet is the Rolex Oyster style bracelet, and this particular reference does have glide lock, which you can see there. So I could make micro adjustments if I get fat, maybe I'm drinking too much beer or something. I can pop this out and I can make micro adjustments without using tools. So that's a really cool feature. Do I ever adjust it? No, because I try to maintain a consistent weight. And if I can't stick two fingers between my waistband and my belly, then I know I got a problem. So I got to change my diet and work out harder. And then once it gets really loose, then I just start eating a bunch more junk. And until it starts getting tight again, then I do the same thing. But some people don't have that discipline. So some people do need glide lock so they can make micro adjustments as their wrist becomes larger and smaller. So that's a really cool feature. Obviously, the Oyster style bracelet's super comfortable. If you've never worn one, I mean, it's just it just feels great. Feels great on your wrist. So no complaints. Submariner, probably one of the most iconic wristwatches in the world. But what about Ulysse Nardin? So this is the Ulysse Nardin Maxi Marine Diver. Different design. Obviously, this has a date. It has a date at the 6 o'clock position. Interesting. Curiously enough, it has a cyclops. You can see that cyclops here at 6 o'clock. Now, if this was a Rolex, that cyclops would typically be on the outside of the sapphire crystal. But Ulysse Nardin has a unique design. They managed to put the cyclops, which magnifies the date, below the sapphire crystal, which means that you still have a flat sapphire crystal. You don't have that cyclops bulge that a lot of people dislike, including myself. That's why I went with the Submariner and I didn't go with Submariner date, because I didn't want the date. I didn't want the cyclops, and more importantly, I wanted the dial symmetry. This Ulysse Nardin Maxi Marine Diver has a power reserve indicator, and then it's got a small seconds at the 6 o'clock position. The lume on this timepiece, check out my other video, is the best lume I've ever seen on a dive watch. Now the bezel action, it's a 60 click bezel, whereas the Submariner is 120. Not that that matters, but it is a difference. The bezel action is very reassuring. It doesn't make the audible clicky sound as loud as the Submariner though. So again, matter of personal preference. Both of these, the 114060 Submariner and this, have crown guards that may better protect the crown. If you bang it into a desk or something, it may hit the crown guard instead of the crown. Both of these timepieces are rated to 300 meters or 1,000 feet. And if you're not familiar with the Ulysse Nardin, obviously the bracelet is super comfortable. Look at that. And both of these bracelets utilize, the Submariner and this utilize screws, which is super nice. Now this does not have, even though it has a dive extension you can pop out here, this Ulysse Nardin bracelet does not have a glide lock style mechanism. So you can't make micro adjustments without tools. You could pop out the dive suit, the wetsuit extension, but it doesn't have the micro adjustments like you get on the Submariner. But as far as quality is concerned, Ulysse Nardin, and if you see this thing, if you've got 4K, crank it up. But let me wipe it off. I got some bacon grease or something on it, man. But yeah, the dial finishing, the lume, this dial, this is the burgundy, and it has a quilted type look in the sunlight. You may be able to see it with my studio lighting. It's got a quilted type look, so it's very unique. The dial is very high-end looking. The overall fit and finish of this wristwatch is exceptional. I will say that in the hands and on the wrist, this feels like a much higher-end wristwatch than the Rolex Submariner. Another thing that feels, even though the Submariner is extremely well built and is one of my favorite timepieces, and the crown has a very reassuring feel, the crown on this just feels solid as everything. This is the most solid feeling crown. You know, if I'm setting the date, winding the wristwatch, or setting the time, this is the most solid feeling crown of any wristwatches in my collection. There's no wobble. I mean, it feels so firm. It's just a very, very well executed design. And then, of course, the bracelet is very comfortable. I will say that I wish that, even though this bracelet's very comfortable and the clasp works well, I would like to see a clasp more along the lines of the Submariner or Omega. But the bracelet itself, I think, takes it to the next level. I think this bracelet is better than the Rolex Submariner bracelet or the Omega Seamaster. I mean, they do a really, Ulysse Nardin did a really good job with this. Now, a lot of people get this on a rubber strap, and I'm not a fan of a rubber strap, but you may be. And if you are, Ulysse Nardin Maxi Marine divers are very popular on rubber straps. But yeah, again, the lume's exceptional. One thing that is kind of weird, the case back utilizes screws. See those screws right there? So I don't know, again, not saying that's an indication of inferior quality, but it's just interesting. Why do they put screws? Why didn't they use some sort of design like a lot of Breitling and Rolex, and, well, most every Rolex and Tudor use it, that oyster type look. I mean, the Breitling Super Ocean Heritage 42, for example, has a case back that doesn't use screws. But so I found it interesting that Ulysse Nardin in their case back has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. Yep, 6 screws. Why do they have to use screws in the case back? I don't know. I'm not a watchmaker, but yeah, this is an exceptional piece. I would say as far as fit and finish and just overall solid feel of the timepiece, I would say it trumps the Submariner. And there are a lot of people that give me grief about that. But now, one thing that is interesting, see the lugs? Whereas with the Submariner, the case is one continuous piece, the watch case. This, it appears that the lugs are somehow attached to the case. Not saying that's a quality concern issue, but it's just, you know, a difference. Whereas a Submariner, this case is one piece. You know, it's got the sapphire on the front and then the oyster style case back on the back. Whereas this, you know, the lugs appear to be a separate piece. Are the crown guards? It's kind of hard to tell if the crown guards may be a separate piece as well. But not saying that's a quality concern at all, just something I wanted to point out. So, yeah, you know, a lot of people ask for the comparison between Ulysse Nardin and Rolex, and I felt that comparing, obviously this has a date and a power reserve complication. This has no date, but, you know, the gist of this comparison was just the overall fit and finish, and how does it feel? And I've had these for many years. You know, I wear them in pools, I wear them in hot tubs, ocean showers, bathtubs, you know, you name it. But they're both excellent pieces. And on that note, I think that you know, whether you go, if you're torn between Rolex, or Ulysse Nardin, the one thing I would caution everybody about, and I'm not a flipper, I don't flip wristwatches. I'm not doing this as a potential investment opportunity. I like wearing different wristwatches. But if it's something where you feel that you may become bored with the wristwatch, you want to sell it, you may want to trade it in the future, at least currently, the secondary market for Ulysse Nardin is very soft compared to Rolex. I mean, Rolex is going through the roof. Rolex is unlike any other wristwatch brand. The only other wristwatch brand that even comes somewhat close to Rolex as far as their rapid appreciation is concerned on the secondary market is maybe a Patek Philippe. That would be the only other brand that would come to mind. But in comparison to an abundance of wristwatch brands, Ulysse Nardin tends to be very soft on the secondary market. I'm not saying that if you ever wanted to sell or trade that you would take a hit, a huge hit, but there would be a considerable hit. And, after owning this Ulysse Nardin Maxi Marine diver for several years, I like to look at the secondary market prices on Chrono 24. And after using it, after wearing it and owning it for several years, I've looked at what they're going for on the secondary market, and it's still a little bit. Now I'm a stiff negotiator, so when I buy wristwatches, and nowadays it's pretty much different ball game. But when I buy wristwatches, I always want to get a discount, and if I don't get a discount, I'm not going to buy it. So even getting a considerable discount when I bought the Ulysse Nardin Maxi Marine diver at the authorized dealer, the pre-owned prices, even after several years in used condition, haven't caught up with the deeply discounted price that I paid. It's within a few $100, but whereas on the other hand with Rolex, it's gone up well over 100% on the secondary market in used condition. It's nuts. So, and that's not saying that would be the trend that would continue to be the case. Market conditions can change, but Rolex, because of their marketing, and they make a great timepiece, don't get me wrong, but because of their marketing, Rolex has, even people that aren't knowledgeable when it comes to wristwatches, they think Rolex is the top of the line, the best wristwatch in the world. And the reality is there's a ton of other watchmakers out there like Ulysse Nardin that are potentially even better quality, but because they don't have the marketing associated with them, their brand image is not as prestigious as Rolex. So with that being said, I think the Ulysse Nardin is a better wristwatch, but again, I would caution everyone, if you are someone that may want to sell or trade, maybe you wear something, maybe it's like cars, you get a car and then you want a new one. Maybe you do that with wristwatches. If you want to do that, I would probably stick with Rolex. You can't go wrong with Rolex. And you really can't. Ulysse Nardin, on the other hand, you could get into a situation where if you did want to exit, that getting out of that timepiece for a profit would maybe be impossible. So you'd probably be taking at least a small hit on the secondary market. But I hope this video helped. Be sure to subscribe, ring that bell icon when you do, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. Check out the links below, my Timepieces for Tomorrow merch. I've got t-shirts, I've got coffee mugs, I've got sweatshirts, I got pint glasses, and a whole lot more. It's a great way to support the channel, videos like this one, and to just show your support for the Timepieces for Tomorrow series here on the Irish Guys Adventure channel. I'm really trying to grow. I want to get past 100,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. That's just a miniature milestone, but after that I want to get into to several 100,000 subscribers. So appreciate your support, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy, and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.